I call myself a paddler. It's the core of who I am. But I haven't really paddled in months. Not seriously, anyway. Not like I'm going to do today. And friends, I need this. More than I can express, I need this time in the boat. Today, I'm putting 10 nautical miles between me and one question. Because 10 nautical miles is the point where things start to hurt for me. It's early season, cold weather, probably going to snow. It's the Maine coast here. The question is, how bad will it be? One way to find out. Let's get on the water. This winter's been rough, friends. This is my 6th year here in Maine, and I think the first 5 winters were cold but not difficult, and this really felt difficult. Really feel it in my body. I just haven't been getting out and moving very much. I'm just working a whole lot and at the desk a whole lot and not prioritizing moving, and that really gets into my mind. It really sort of gets me into ruts and feeling like, am I the paddler who I think I am? Am I in the shape to do what I want to do this summer? And then, as I shared in the intro, like, I really need this. Like, this activity fills my soul up. Like, it energizes me. And without that input over the past few months, I've just been a little lost. And, I've paddled, but they've been like 4-mile days, or it's been so darn cold that I just kind of tool around a few islands and call it a day and get back to shore before I lose feeling in my extremities. And, it's not a great day today. It's like 30 degrees. There's a storm coming in, but the winds are down, and I had the day. So I set a goal for myself. I set a training goal, and I mapped out a 10-mile trip from Roque Bluffs Town Landing and going to an island called Fan Island. So I mapped it on the GPS. It's 5 miles away and then 5 miles back. So my goal is to head out to that island and come back and have a 10 nautical mile training day. At 10 nautical miles, that's like a pretty standard, doable day for me in the summer when I'm in shape. I find, I don't know about you, but like 7 nautical miles or less, and it starts to feel like, okay, that was fun. Around 10, I was like, okay, I'm putting in a shift. I'm doing some work. Beyond that, once I hit 12 and 15 nautical mile days, like that's a lot of work. That's a long day on the water, and that's a lot of work for me. And look, like, I'm not someone who has to crush miles. Some friends that I have do amazing distances and amazing speeds and set records along the coast. That's not really me. I'm not really built for speed or distance. I'm built for the experience. I don't mind putting in long days. I absolutely, will do it if there's a goal in mind. But just to do it just doesn't really intrigue me. And this 10 nautical mile mark for me so early in the season it's a test. It's going to push. Now, if it doesn't go well, I think it clues me into the type of conditioning I need to focus on to do the paddles I want to do this season. And, if it does go well, I'm in better shape than I thought I was. Although I'm not feeling it right now. Everything's feeling a little awake. Let's see how much my lack of conditioning took from me this winter. It's snowing. What I learned early on doing this channel is my normal 8 or 10 mile days when I'm recording just are impossible. They add an extra 2 or 3 nautical miles to the day. Just, going back and getting cameras and going along shore and getting footage. So more often than not, when I'm doing an episode, I really look for a 5 or 6 mile day. And it takes me 8 hours to film an episode. So with this 10-mile goal for myself today, I don't know how many stops I'm going to be able to make. I think it's going to be a lot of me sitting here talking to you with some cutaway shots. And now with the snow, it doesn't really bode well for the drone. So the drone might be no longer a usable tool. as long as the wind stays down. It's been veering, and if you know, if you watch my episode on what to know about the wind, you know exactly what that clockwise movement of the wind means. And if you don't, you can go watch that episode. Okay, 2.5 nautical miles in. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's kind of a normal paddle. I do notice my shoulders are a little weak, and because of that, I'm thinking a lot about my form in my body. My mind is really thinking about everything I'm feeling in my body and everything I'm doing with the paddle, trying to keep a light pace and a good pace, trying to not overexert any one area, because I'm thinking about the 7.5 miles ahead. I went on a little bit of a binge this winter purchasing pogies because I really don't like the NRS neoprene pogies. They're warm, but they really cut down on my dexterity for paddling. Doing things interesting or unique along the side of the boat with those is really tricky. So I made some purchases. These are Reed Chill Cheater, for those of you who care about such things. They're the fleece-lined Aquatherm, I think is what it's called. I have mixed feelings about these. It's nice not to have a lot of material. My hands are definitely warm. Getting them on and off is kind of a pain in the butt. They get bunched up around my wrist. I've got Roke Island off to my right. Got Halifax Island bit in front of me, and then off of that, the Brothers. And man, oh man, do I love that island. I love all these islands, but the Brothers is a unique spot. When the stars align and it's the right day and I have time to film an episode, that's going to be a spot I want to take you to. Getting a little wave action now that I'm kind of coming to the front of things. To be expected. Giving up on trying to keep my glasses clean. Gets much worse. It's probably just easier to take them off. About 4 miles in, a little over 4 miles, and I should start to see Fan Island as I round this point. I'm really enjoying the paddle. As I mentioned, for reasons of the difficulty of this season, I haven't really put many miles on it until today, and I'm really starting to get to know it. I feel like it gets a really good bite of water. I feel like it's really stable. My Werner paddle, the joint has a little bit of flex, like the tiniest little bit of flex that you just feel on every single paddle stroke. And in fact, all my Werner paddles have that, and this doesn't. This is nice and solid. Maybe that's also why it feels like it gets such a secure bite of water. I'm really happy with this blade size too. My normal blade that I paddle with before this, my Werner blade is an Ikalos, which it's larger blade size. I'll put the blade size on the screen. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is a much smaller blade size, which I'll also put on the screen. This is the Celtic Archipelago, and with my Werner Ikalos, I have to be really conscious about not overexerting each stroke. I've got to really lighten up on it, which is a technique. You know, it's a way to move less water with a bigger blade. But this, as a touring blade, has felt really nice, having a slightly smaller blade size. I don't know if, well, let me start that a different way. I like these pogies. They're the wrong thing for me. If you're just touring and you can just kind of put these on and go, that is great. But with filming this episode for you all, I am in and out of my cockpit. I'm getting cameras out, and then more often than not, when have my paddle against my lap, this is hanging into the water and getting wet. So I have to be really alert and like put the pogies in the middle of the paddle so they go into my cockpit. I can kind of get over the slight difficulty getting them on. I mean, I think all pogies are a little tricky to get on. It wouldn't stop me from using them on a tour or a day trip. This is the next little bit that may be a little bit spicy. Committing to the glasses until I turn around and have the wind at my back. That stretch wasn't too bad through that last point because there's some barrier islands and that's knocked down a little bit of the wave action. So that wasn't actually too bad, it was really pretty. Okay, a little bit more here for Fan Island and then we'll check our mileage when we're on the other side of it. I want you to all close your eyes right now and picture an epic drone shot of Fan Island. Can you see it? Because you're not going to get it from me today. I've never actually come to Fan Island from this side. I'm usually passing on the other side of it, on the other side of this channel. And it's really pretty over here. Okay, it's 5 nautical miles. It's 4.9 on the other side of the island on my technical turnaround spot, and here I just hit 5. So that tells me I can kind of trace the line I made getting out here. I kind of have that like, oh, okay, now I got to go back feeling. My body feels tired, and I think I'm going to be definitely tired by the time I get back. The weather isn't helping. My hands are cold, my feet are cold, and conditions on the ocean are actually fine. If it was a dry day, it would be fine. That camera is completely fogged over, and I'm not really sure how the rest of this trip is going to go. So I'm going handheld. I noticed that in my head, I keep coming back to the like, am I the paddler I think I am? I mean, like, I think a little bit of this trip is not only conditioning, but just to kind of prove to myself I'm not that far away from where I want to be or where I tell all of you I am, if I'm honest. And yeah, now this next part, which I'd rather not do, the next 5 miles. It's usually the last mile or two. Wasn't sure if I heard a boat there. It's usually the last mile or two that really starts to suck. So we're gonna make some time and get back and kind of check in there because camera stuff right now is very difficult. So I'll see you in a little bit. Seven miles in. Cameras are completely useless on the deck, so we're handheld, baby. I'm taking a little break here in some ledges that I found. About to turn downwind, which will be a little bit easier, but kind of ready for this one to be done. This is the part of the trip where my technique really starts to go south. I start slouching in my seat, I start using less of my core muscles, start using more of my arms. So this is the part where I engage forward on my sits bones and try to remember what good paddling technique looks like. I did put the neoprene gloves on because I got super cold at a break, and I don't know, it's really hard for me to index my paddle and feel my paddle shaft with them on. So I never like how I paddle with neoprene gloves on, but it was sort of a matter of frostbite or neoprene gloves. So I chose neoprene gloves. Eight miles in, 2 to go. I definitely hit my, not breaking point, but sort of a surrender point. That's what I'll say. I hit a surrender point after coming around Cow Point and tucking into a little ledge just to get a little quiet. It was a pretty rough crossing over that point. It was windy, the snow's just hitting in my face, my glasses are useless. I would have gotten footage for you, but the cameras were completely useless. And yeah, it was advanced open water paddling, and it kind of took it out of me here a few miles from the return of my the end of my day. Anyway, I tucked into that little cove and I just kind of surrendered. Like I just needed a break. I needed a pause. I needed to just check in with myself. And yeah, my body's tired, and the mental noise is definitely quieting down. I think that's one of the things paddling does for me. It just kind of knocks out that mental chatter and all the like self-talk and comparison and all the crap I tell myself that I shouldn't believe, but it's so hard not to believe. That little moment in there was just that respite, that shift. And while I'm ready to be done, I'm not really ready for it to be over today. I love being out here. And I guess part of the reason of being out here is like training and getting my body in shape so I can spend more time out here instead of feeling like this 10-mile trip here at the beginning of the season is kind of like at the edge of my capabilities or tolerance levels. So yeah, that's why I'm here, so I can spend more time out here. Okay, well, on to my least favorite part, the last 2 miles of anything. They seem like the longest part of the trip. We did it! 10 nautical miles. And I got a little bit left to go before I'm actually off the water. I feel that I am not in shape, which was to be expected. Look, like I knew this was gonna hurt. I knew that I haven't been paddling the way I was paddling up through October of last year. I expected all that. And what this means is I'm just gonna focus a little bit over the next couple of weeks of putting some distance in and getting that conditioning back, but definitely, I definitely wish I felt a little better right now. My mind was interesting today too, because I also noticed that surrender that I had of just put the paddle strokes in, just do the distance, settle in, find that Zen spot. That also was what I did in my mind. Appreciate you coming on this training run with me, and I hope some of my thought process was helpful for you. Hope you enjoyed seeing as much of the Maine coast as I could show you on a day like today. And you know, how often do you get to paddle in a snowstorm? If you enjoyed this type of thing, I got a whole host of other episodes on the channel. Some instruction, some adventure, really just me sharing what I'm learning from the cockpit of this kayak. All right, friends, I also want to know what you think long distances are for you. And look, like I know like my 10 nautical miles is not the I know people do way more. I know it's not, I'm not claiming that it's like the farthest distance ever, but it's a far distance for me right now. And that was true and that was honest. So what are your distances? What's the longest you've ever paddled? Or what do you consider a long day on the water? I hope you leave those in the comments and tell me all about it. Thank you for joining me on this adventure, and I hope you enjoy your adventures, whatever they are. And until next time, safe paddling. Bye for now.